श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं नमामि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। महर्षीणां भृगुरहम् गिरामस्म्येकमक्षरम् यज्ञानाञ्जपयज्ञोऽस्मि स्थावराणां हिमालयः. Dear friends, does it sound very odd and like Greek and Latin, what I said just now? It is a verse from Gita, 10th chapter, 25th verse. The chapter itself is known as Vibhi Yogah. Yoga, take it as a chapter, but just not any chapter. The chapter that helps us commune with the divinity, that is yoga. I have given you the meaning of the word yoga. Yoga is knowledge. Okay, yoga is not asana, that is also yoga, but in the context of Gita, yoga is knowledge. So, what kind of knowledge it is? The knowledge that helps commune, unite. Yoga, unite. Also called commune with the divinity. That is how it is. Not so much with the God. You may say God. Are you following what I say? Are you okay? My English, my my accent, all that is fine with you? Okay, good. So, yoga is that understanding. Knowledge is all right, but even better, that understanding which helps us, you and me, to commune or to unite with the divinity. That is yoga. And so, in this chapter, which is yoga, the topic is vibhuti. Every chapter does the same job. The job of helping us unite or commune with the divinity. That is the job. That is the text of Gita. And there are 18 chapters, you know. So this is one chapter where the vibhutis, they help us commune. That's why it is called Vibhi Yogah. What is Vibhuti? A Sanskrit word, obviously. Vibhuti is the glory. Normally, Vibhuti is the glory. But in this context, obviously, it is glory all right, but it is divine glory. Because by recognizing the glory, you commune with the divine. And hence, the glory becomes the divine glory. Okay? And so those divine glories are explained and enumerated in the chapter. That's why it is called Vibhuti Yogah. Vibhutinam Yogah. Okay? Now, what is this divine and what is the glory? You should have why do you look at me like that? As if with grumpy faces? My philosophy makes you very grumpy and uncomfortable? No, it's okay, good. So, what is the divine and what is the glory? These are fundamentals. Generally, we have a habit of putting aside the fundamentals and go into the details. So, become technical and very knowledgeable without any understanding. You got the point? Therefore, these fundamentals must be in place. Fundamentals must be in place. This understanding versus knowledge is an important topic. Recently, I read New York Times, Therefore, I pick up a few points which you are likely to miss, some of you. So I put it before you. A question was asked, why Israel, Israel and Palestine, Gaza, why Israel the Israeli intelligence failed to anticipate that October 7th attack? This was asked, this question was put to the intelligence chief. And so all your machines are in place? Yes, all the machines are doing well. They are collecting all the information. People on the ground? Yes, they are all on the ground and they are sending information. We have an enormous amount of knowledge, but we do not understand that knowledge. That's why could not anticipate the 7th October attack. You got the point? So they have all the knowledge, but missed the point. This is how we have all the Vedantic knowledge, but just miss the point. So knowledge versus understanding. Did I make a point? Yes. Knowledge versus understanding. Therefore, you have all the knowledge about divine and all the knowledge about glory, but understanding sunna, anda, zero. It should not be like that. There must be understanding. So, the divine has to be understood in the context of Vedanta. People, they study and get the knowledge about the divine and then form a number of concepts about the divine. Divine is such and such, etc. They form concepts. This is what is called conceptual God. The religions of the masses have only conceptual God. There is no real God, only conceptual God. Mostly, there may be worthy exceptions. Whereas the Vedantic religion, if you may say so, if you will, is not satisfied with the conceptual God. You have to realize the God here and now. That is Vedanta. This important leap from concept to the vision. Concept, the vision. Concept is here, vision is here. This important leap you have to take. This is something like Hanuman leaps across the ocean to reach Lanka where Sita is there. That is the symbolic leap there. So the concept, the leap from concept to the vision. So what happens, you may talk about divine, you may have a conference on divine without understanding the divine at all. That is how people end up. They study Vedanta for years and decades with gurus and all that, and end up with a load of concepts, very heavy load of concepts. That's why they are burdened by that load. Knowledge becomes a burden. Really. I mean it. And so, all the knowledge weighing down in the head, but no vision at all. It should not be like that. So, you see, you have to understand the divine. They talk of manifest, unmanifest. Means, you look at this universe, there must be something from which, some primordial stuff from which this universe is manifested, let us say. Okay? Therefore, that primordial stuff is the divine. Now it has manifested as the universe, therefore the universe becomes the manifest form of the divine. Right? You say, I am giving very preliminary information. The manifest is used only provisionally. It has to be modified later. For the present, I am using the word manifest. because I don't want to put too many things at the same time. Therefore, the unmanifest is He, the God. The manifest is also He, the God. Right? This is the divine vision. Therefore, what happens is, this is what Vedanta is. Vedanta is not about some theological or mythological gods and worships and all that. That is not Vedanta. Okay? That is a different context. It has its relevance. I am not dismissing anything. Only that is not Vedanta. Okay? In Vedanta, we are not interested in a theological, mythological, orthodoxical, traditional God and all that. Okay? All that stuff is put aside. And now you are interested in the realization of the truth, another name for God. The real, that is also another name for God. The reality, the divinity, that you have to realize. That realize means, Shankara used an expression like suppose a fruit, a small fruit is in your palm. You know the fruit. You are looking at it. That kind of realization. There is nothing mediate about it. It is immediate. That kind of realization, that is the topic of Vedanta. Okay? So, therefore you have to understand the world is manifest God. And what about it manifested from the unmanifest God? Therefore, manifest is He, unmanifest is He. Motion or movement is a phenomenon, is He. The motionless, the noumenon, is He. The form is He. The formless is He. You are following? The seen is He, and the unseen is He. So, the imagined is He, and the unimaginable and unimagined is He. God alone is. There is none other than He. Okay? And there is nothing else but He. That is the vision of Vedanta. This vision, if you understand this and if you feel it, you have to feel it. People do not feel. People are very, very calculated, very cunning, intellectual. People are intellectuals. They do not have the feeling. They do not feel God. They have all the intellectualism about God. No feeling. And all this intellectualism becomes a burden. It doesn't help you. It becomes a burden. So, at least in the worldly things, you acquire some intellectual accumulated knowledge that will help you to make a profession. Become an engineer or a doctor, etc., make a home, make a family, this and that. What will you do with this kind of intellectualism? No, we will make a profession out of this also. Yeah. That is what people end up doing. Therefore, you have a profession of Vedanta in the place of a vision of the Godhead. So, that I am taking you to the word Vibhuti and Yoga. So then I will come to the verse, because this is my first class on Vibhuti Yoga, and I will be taking class after class continuously in the coming 3-4 months on Vibhuti Yoga. Therefore I am giving a kind of a recap of what must have been or could have been said earlier. So, therefore you should have that vision, understanding. That is the word I like to use instead of knowledge. Okay? That understanding, so that vision, sometimes it is called divine or God consciousness. You can say divine consciousness also. Are you conscious of the divine? That is the question. Are you conscious of the world? I need not ask. Should I ask that? A child is not conscious of the world. Okay? Whereas we are all very conscious of the world and its variety and multiplicity. Very conscious. Are you conscious of the divine? No, we are not conscious of the divine. And therefore we look around for divine. We search for the divine. And quite often we contradict ourselves. By, on one side, studying Vedanta, which is nothing but God consciousness. You are conscious of the divinity all over, everywhere. That is Vedanta. And then we study that and we contradict by behaving as if God is located in some place, here or elsewhere. Do you see the contradiction there? So, what do you think of Vibhuti? Vibhuti means God is in Jerusalem, God is in Varanasi, God is in Rame. Is that the Vibhuti Yoga? No, that is not Vibhuti Yoga. That is tourism, religious tourism manual. That is not Vibhuti Yoga. That is what we do. We contradict ourselves. Very badly we contradict ourselves. No surprise, when you are contradicting yourself day in and day out, no surprise, we have only some intellectual knowledge but no vision. You see that? So, therefore, God says, my house is in the mountains. Bhagavan ka ghar. My God's house is in the mountains, in the woods, in the rivers, in the lakes and beaches. That is why people go to the beaches in these countries all the time. I think so. Unconsciously, they go to the beaches because there is God in the beaches. Unconsciously they do it. If only they do consciously, that is Vibhuti Yoga. So, therefore, that is where God is. That is where God says, that is where I live. And that is where I express my love for you. That is Vibhuti. God's love for you and for me is expressed in a particular form. That form becomes Vibhuti, divine glory. Like, for example, you go to the beach. As I said, people go to the beaches in these countries. So you go to the beach. So, what do you see? So you see the ocean. That is a Vibhuti of God. So, among all the rivers, I am Ganga, something it says, and he talks of ocean also. As the Vibhuti it will come. Therefore, truly, there is God in the beaches. So, therefore, you see, there is God in sunrise. And of course in sunset also. There is God in a landscape. Not necessarily a landscaped lawn and all that. That is very artificial. You see, in Alaska, they have wild meadows. A meadow which is wild, which is not man-made. And then a patch of wild marshland. So they don't disturb it. They just leave it like that and provide a wooden platform to walk on. And so you walk on the wooden platform and you see the marshland in its pristine glory. And you look at the meadow in its pristine glory. You don't try with a lawn mower and all that. Therefore, in those meadows, in those marshlands, so you see the glory of God. That is where God is discovered. And also, not only that, God is also present in the looks of your friends, for example. Because when a friend looks at you, there is love in that look. There is God in that. And also in the looks of your children, not grown up. So that is where you find God. So, but what we do, we search for God in books. How do you find God in books? Therefore, you see, people are afraid of God. They don't have love for God. They have only fear for God. There is nothing to fear of God. You should not fear God. Stop being so scared of God. Because God doesn't judge you. God doesn't criticize you. That is a theo-God. God doesn't become angry. God doesn't bother you. He won't reward you also. Please make note. Okay, you have to reward yourself. So God, you deserve and then desire and then work for it, get it, reward yourself. That's it. That is how it works. Therefore, God is a pure love. So, to discover the glory of God, that is Vibhuti, you need not karma. I have done so many rituals, and by doing some more ritual, no, that is a trap. I have done so much pilgrimage, by doing some more pilgrimage, no, it's a trap. So, then how to recognize the glory of God in all? Everywhere you can recognize the glory of God. How? What you need is not the intellect. That is not what you need. What you need is attention. That is what you need. So, what all you need to discover the glory of God, the Vibhuti, is pay attention in your life. That is all. Pay attention. So let that alertness, that attention be your God. With that, you will discover the glory of God endlessly. There are glories of God endlessly. Countless glories of God are there, and you will discover. In the textbook, Vibhi Yogah, it only hints a few glories. It gives a few number, some 72 or so glories it lists. And then Krishna says, these are just meant, these are only given as illustrative, not exhaustive, They are illustrative only, not exhaustive. So there are infinite glories, and you can discover more and more and more glories. And you can say, this is the glory of God. You can say that. It was not mentioned in Gita, need not be mentioned in Gita. People quote all the time scraps of scriptures. One scrap from here, one scrap from there. And that is how they want to authenticate themselves. That is a game which is fine, which works in a given context. You need not quote a scrap of the scripture. You can discover a glory of God all by yourself. So only qualification that you require is attention, the alertness. So therefore, you see, you are absolutely free. Okay, you are free. Only you burden yourself, you bind yourself. Nobody binds you, you are free. There are no praises and no punishments. So, and there is nobody to keep a record of all your good and bad. Okay? People are rewarded not for their virtue, but by their virtue. People are punished not for their sins, but by their sins. Therefore, there is nobody keeping record and then visiting a punishment upon you. There is no such thing. You are free. So, stop believing in God. This is Vedanta. In theology, you have to believe in God. They say faith. The religions, the theo-religions are called faiths, so many faiths, because it is about believing in God. You have to believe in God. You have to stop believing in God. Because a belief in God takes away your alertness. It gives you a false sense of knowing. Belief is not knowledge or knowing, understand. It is not. In fact, the ignorance that people have, I am ignorant of God. And that ignorance, I give it a nice cover of belief. Now, the cover of belief, it looks very attractive and very gratifying to the mind. Whereas, underneath this cover of belief, there is only ignorance. And therefore, stop believing in God. Stop, because believing is assuming. Believing is guessing. Believing is imagining. That is what people do. In all religions, that is how it works. So, God doesn't want us to believe in God. So, you have to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. You can discover God. You can find out the divinity in your life, now and here. You can. You have to believe in you. People don't believe in them. They believe in the Guru. They believe in the scripture. They believe in the tradition, not in themselves. Empty here. So that is not what you are supposed to do. You have to believe in yourself. I find God. I am conscious of God. You have to say that. That God consciousness is what is called yoga. That is what yoga is. Therefore, so people come out with all kinds of prayers where they praise the glory of God. They praise God. Without understanding God, they praise. How do you praise? Without understanding someone, how do you praise? What is the fun of praising a person without understanding? You see, sometimes in the public meetings, all of them praise one guy. A president or a prime minister, all of them praise one after the other. Nobody knows him, I tell you. So, therefore, you discover God. That is yoga. Stop praising God. So, suppose God gets pleased by your praise, suppose. Then you have to say God is very egomaniac, something like that. So, God is love. So, therefore, you believe in yourself and you understand yourself. You take care of your health. There is divinity in it. God is called Dhanvantari, the embodiment of good health. Where is good health? Good health is in heaven. Or in Vaikuntha, what does it help you? Or good health is with the doctor's office. There you will find a primary care physician's office has good health. So people are... good health is in you. You have good... You find, discover good health in you. And that good health in you, you believe me, I mean, you understand me, is the glory of God. Arogyam bhaskaradi ched. God is in the solar orb. You stand before the solar orb and do Surya Namaskar, 12-step Surya Namaskar. That the good health, which is in God, which is in solar orb, which is with the sun God, will come into you. And the good health you discover in yourself. So, yuktahara viharasya. Yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Gita. Therefore, when you discover good health in you, you have to understand that good health in you as the glory of God. My eyes are able to see. That is God's glory. Chakshushash chakshuh. That is the rishi. That is the seer. The God-conscious person. That is where you find God. So, you can express the divinity in your relationships also by showing love. Instead of cunningness, craftiness, etc., you show love, clean and simple love. And act upon it if there is something to act upon. That is how you express God who is within you. This is the God consciousness. So, you see, this creation is full of wonders. And every wonder is a divine glory. And you have to learn to wonder. And the name of that wonder is bhakti. People brought this word bhakti to a lot of disrepute. Now bhakti, so they pander ritualism and mythology and blind belief systems and then blind followership, etc. as bhakti. That is not bhakti. Bhakti is, did you ever wonder when a bird chirps and makes a sweet song, the song of a bird? Did you ever wonder about it? If you have wondered, that is devotion, that is God. So, this is how I have introduced to you the word divinity in the process of introducing what is called divine glory. And the divine glories are not limited, they are infinite. Okay? But only a few are indicated by Sri Krishna, the philosopher. So, Sri Krishna doesn't introduce himself as a guru. He introduces himself, even within the context of the story, he introduces himself as Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. You are my friend. And you love me. And what about you? I love you too. Yomat bhaktas same priyaha. That is the introduction of Sri Krishna. So he is our friend and he loves us and also we should love him. That is how he introduces. So what we do is we replace the love and the kinship that you feel kinship with the world. Very sad. We should feel the kinship with the divinity. World is not our friend. The divinity, so which is everywhere, that is the friend. And you have to mark or pinpoint the divinity for yourself and wonder at its glory. That is bhakti. In doing so, in that understanding, you express the divinity in your thought, action, and speech and action. That is how you express it. This is what is called the all-important God consciousness. And that is the topic of Vibhuti Yoga. Are you all right with the introduction to the chapter? Now we will come to the verse. So, Maharshinam Bhruguraham, he says. In this verse, a little technical details because we are studying the verse. All Shashti Vibhaktis you find. Students of Gita understand this. If you are altogether new to Gita, maybe what I am saying may sound a bit out of place. But if you know a little about Gita, a little about 10th chapter, then you will understand that in this chapter, the Vibhutis means the divine glories. They are the Vibhutis. Suppose a rich man you talk with a rich man. He says, I built this palace. Now that palace is a vibhuti of the rich man, right? And then he purchases a Rolls-Royce car. And he comes, look at my car. So that car is the vibhuti of the rich man, kind of. So, therefore, we are conscious of the vibhutis of the rich people and other things. But now we have to be conscious of the vibhuti of the divinity. Okay? So, suppose the rich man says, I have a dozen cars and this Rolls Royce is the best among them. Okay? Now, what language he uses? Among all the cars that I have, among, you know among? This RR is Rolls Royce, is the best, is the vibhuti of the rich man. There that among in English, it is called in Sanskrit Nirdharane Shashti. In fact, Sutram also is like that, Shashti Nirdharane, that is how I remember. So, when there are same or similar things, quite a few of them, you pick up one and point out as the best, as a vibhuti, as the glory. In that context, we utilize the word among, right? He is the best student among the students of this class. That is the best fruit among all the fruits that are served there. That among you are following? That is the Shashti Vibhakti in Sanskrit, the sixth case. The sixth case is a very interesting case. It has many meanings. Many meanings. Every case has a particular meaning or a set of meanings. First case, so pratimikartha, pratipadikartha, like that there are a few things. So the meaning of the stem, that is the first case. So karmanidvitiya, the object is indicated by the second case. Like that every case, vibhakti, every case has a one or a set of meanings. When it comes to sixth case, Shashti, it has many meanings. How many? One grammarian counted the meanings and he said, Ekashatam Shashtyarthaha. There are 101. Ekashatam is not 100. It is 101. Okay. Ekancha shatancha. 101 meanings for the Shashti. So, one among those 101 is among. You see, I have used again among. One among those 101 meanings is among. That is one meaning. Many of the 10th chapter verses follow that meaning. Like among the rivers, I am Ganga, and among Pandavas, there are 5. Among Dhananjaya, Pandavanam, Dhananjaya. Pandavanam is the Shashti. Among the sons of Pandu, the king Pandu, I am Arjuna. That is among. Okay? Like that, Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshanam, it is about to come. Among all the trees, you have to say among all the trees. I am the people tree, like that. Okay? That is among. That is one meaning. All Shashtis are not Nirdharana Shashtis. Some of the Shashtis, a few of them, are Sambandha Shashti. Not among, of. Rama, the son of Dasharatha. That is not among, the son of Dasharatha, of. So the connection or relation between Rama and Dasharatha is the Sambandha. Father-son Sambandha, whatever Sambandha. The husband of that lady, again Sambandha, connection or a relation. That is where the word of is used. So that meaning, Sambandha Artha meaning, is also the meaning of Shashti. In the 10th chapter, this distinction has to be carefully appreciated. Everything is not Nirdharana Shashti. I can use those words now, now that you have understood. Can I say Nirdharana Shashti? The Shashti, sixth case with the meaning of among, and Sambandha Shashti, the sixth case with the meaning of connected, of, way of off. Can I use those words? Nirdharana Shashti and Sambandha Shashti. From now on, whatever verses have gone by, but from now on, in the remaining verses, wherever you see the Vibhuti with the Shashti Vibhakti, you have to understand it as among Shashti or of Shashti. You have to make that distinction. Many of them are among Shashti. Some of them, a few of them are of Shashti. Like Tejasvinamaham, it is about to come. I am the effulgence of the effulgent people. That is the effulgence. Whatever be the effulgence, that effulgence I am. Suppose there was all boxers assembled together for a few days of boxing competitions, and then the champion emerges. So they are all boxers, but he is the champion in boxing, right? So this is how if you come across a boxer, his effulgence, he is the effulgent one, the strong one. He is the strong one, the strongest of all, and his strength is divinity. You got it? There, the strength of the strong one, you say of, or the strength among the strong one, you say no. That is not proper English. You have to say the strength of the strong one is myself. The divinity, that is the meaning. Therefore, there are instances where the Vibhuti, the divine glory, is presented as a Sambandha Shashti, but mostly Nirdharana Shashti. Why did I make a big deal of this Shashti? Because before me this statement is there, Maharshinam Bhruguhu Aham. Is it Sambandha Shashti or Nirdharana Shashti? Outwardly, at the first look, it looks like Nirdharana Shashti. There are many great sages and saints, Maharshis, great rishis. Rishihi Darshanat. The one who sees the truth, not the one who sees the cinema or movie, not that one, the one who sees the truth, the seer, that is the translation for Rishi. These words have to be carefully translated. Muni, the thinker. Rishi, the seer. So like that, so there are many rishis. You know all of them. I tell a few names. Tell me you know the rishi or not. Vasishtha, Vamadeva. Oh, maybe new name to you. Then Vishwamitra. You know. So you know many rishis. Vishwamitra is your maternal uncle or paternal uncle? You tell me. Which uncle? Then why do you say no? Did you meet him any time? How do you know? What do you know, Vishwamitra? This is how knowledge works. It gives you a feeling, an impression that you know without knowing. Knowledge. Do you know Brahma? Yeah, I know Brahma. I am studying Brahma for the last 2 decades. Aisa. So all of you know Vishwamitra. I tell you, you do not know Vishwamitra. What you know is, I put a trick upon you. Please excuse me for that. I made you answer. I'll then put a trap there. Not a trick, it's a trap. It appears as though we know. We don't know. We don't know anything. Do you know anything about Vishnu? You don't know anything, let me say, before you say we know. You don't know anything. Absolutely nothing you know. You have a few beliefs. And beliefs parade as knowledge. Very unfortunate. So belief is ignorance, not knowledge. But when ignorance becomes knowledge, then knowledge goes begging, a-begging. You got my point? Yeah. Therefore, we do not know any rishis. Once I said Vyasa, Vasishtha, Valmiki, Vamadeva, like that, somebody is giving a list. I said, you are making a big deal of all these names in Rishikesh. Is he your uncle? Which uncle? Which kind of uncle? I said. One person, he became angry. Not only one person became angry, 4 or 5 people became angry with me. I am the poor guy, timid guy, they all can become angry with me. Look at me. And went and make a complaint. And then I told, go and sit on the tree. Okay. So, you do not know any rishis. All, you just reel out a few names. Nama Rupa. You have an idea that goes with the name. That's all. That's all. Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa is not knowledge. Nama Rupa is ajnana, niscience. That's why we can say all knowledge is niscience. You can say that. Because what all people know is only names and forms. And they call it knowledge. And if that is all knowledge, then I don't hesitate to say it is niscience. Therefore, if we know a few rishis, great rishis, and if we know Bhrigu, then we can say Bhrigu is the greatest among all these rishis. You do not know any rishis. Sri Krishna might be knowing. Sri Krishna, who spoke these words, he lived some 5,500 years back. Maybe something like 3,500 before Christ, BC. Means almost like the Pharaoh's time. Egyptian pharaohs are there, you know. Almost a similar time. Give or take 100 years here and there. So that is when he lived. And he knew a number of rishis. And even Arjuna seems to know those, because they are friends, you know. What all rishis Krishna knew, so Arjuna also knew. So he can say, hey, I know many rishis, you also know all of them. I tell you, I know Bhrigu, you also know Bhrigu. Bhrigu is the best among the rishis. That is what Sri Krishna told to Arjuna. Therefore, taking this as a nirdharana shashti becomes presumptuous. Means you presume. A few rishis, you presume Bhrigu also, and then Sri Krishna tells, among all the rishis presumed by you, the Maharshi called Bhrigu presumed by you is the greatest, and he is a vibhuti. That is how you want to understand. You can go ahead. You may do that. I don't mind. Sometimes it's all right. It may happen like that. So, and if you say in Australia, there are a set of fruits which I have never known, but among those 4 or 5, this is the best, you say, oh, is it so? Okay, namaskar. You can do that. You may do that here and be satisfied with it. All the Tikakaras follow that path. Okay? Then what Shankara is doing there? Shankara is the master commentator, you know. Shankara did not commit himself to anything. He did not say anything about it. He left it to your understanding. Maharshinam Bhruguraham, he repeated it. Maharshinam iti, Maharshinam Bhruguraham. So Shankara doesn't commit one way or the other. Whether it is Sambandha Shashti or Nirdharana Shashti, he doesn't commit. And Tikakaras, they took it as Nirdharana Shashti. Are you following my line of presentation? Are you following? Good. You are with me or elsewhere? Okay. I'll finish in another 10 minutes. I'll finish this particular name, Vibhuti. You see, you can take it as Sambandha Nirdharana Shashti. Bhrigu is the great, I am Bhrigu. Among all great sages, you may say that. And Tikakaras also follow that. Then they have to explain why Bhrigu is great. Why Bhrigu is great here, they have to explain. Among all, there are so many rishis, there must be some reason why Bhrigu is pointed out particularly. So they said they go by some mythological story. There was the milky ocean, ocean of milk. You know ocean of milk. You all know ocean of milk. Must be knowing ocean of milk. Many of you. Maybe some of the Westerners may not know ocean of milk. They may be knowing Milky Way. But not the ocean of milk. Ocean of milk we people, South Indians, know very well. So there is the ocean of milk. And in that ocean of milk was churned with a churning rod, which is a mountain, Mandara. And they put a rope around it for churning rope. And that is a snake, a big serpent called Vasuki maybe. It's only a name. If not Vasuki, I don't mind to correct myself because it's only a name. You know only Dev. It's only a naam hi hai. Aur kuch nahi. It doesn't matter. Let us say Vasuki. So, and then the Rakshasas and the Devatas. Now, who are they? Just imagine. So Rakshasa, that is the story. They churned with this serpent. Rakshasas holding on the head side. And all the head side people are like that. So those holding on the tail are the Devatas, very comfortable people. They hold the tail. Those who hold the head will get their bit of punishment. And they churned. And many things were born out of churning. When you churn the milk, you get butter. But in this churning, a few other things came. One is Goddess Lakshmi came. And then the sage Bhrigu came. Abbo, he must be great. We agree now. We all decided to agree, Maharshinam Bhriguraham. This is how all the tekas are satisfied. Now I ask you, are you satisfied or you want me to look into it a little more closely? You tell me. If you are satisfied, I am also satisfied. I have told what all the Tikakaras say and I am done with that name. Are you satisfied or you want me to throw some more light on it? Then it becomes no more Nirdharana Shashti. It becomes a Sambandha Shashti. And I have the freedom to do that. Why? Because Shankara, the master commentator, did not commit. He left it open. Open-ended, he left it. And many Tikakaras, they have commented it as Sambandha, Nirdharana Shashti. It is their privilege, I don't mind it. But should I follow a Tika? I should not be independently thinking. Tika Guru Nam Guruhu. All gurus have a guru before them. That is the Tika, commentary. So it can be done like that. I too do the same thing. This book is Tika book only, that's why it is so big. But then you can think independently. There is a wonderful symbolism in some of these Puranic stories. Okay, I am putting it briefly because I am concluding it. And that symbolism is the milk, ocean of milk is your heart, not head. Head is limited. Heart is boundless. You will understand it, okay, in meditation. So your heart is boundless, and it is love, and it is pure sattva guna, sattva rajas tamo gunas. Sattva is white, and therefore your heart, which is full of love and which is full of sattva guna is a harmony and dispassion. That is sattva guna. And they are marked as white. These are color code. Color code for Rajoguna is red, for Tamoguna is black. The color code, it comes in Chandogya Upanishad also, in Tattvamasi also it will come, the color code. So, the white. And love, milk stands for love. You all know that. Milk stands for love. And therefore, that is the meaning of Lord Krishna, Gopala and all that, that is the meaning. So, therefore your heart, which is full of love and harmony, is the ocean of milk. And then churning, the churning is happening. Devatas are right understanding, right thinking. Devatas. False understanding and wrong thinking, negative thinking, like greed, jealousy, etc., conflict, struggle, all these are Rakshasas. Love, harmony, goodwill, friendship, and compassion, etc., are Devatas. Both are here. And both are fighting among, they are opposite to each other, obviously. And the churning rod, you know what is churning rod? You are just now coming from a meditation seminar, the sit upright, that backbone, that spine, that is the churning rod. Mandara. Mandara mountain, churning rod. And then the serpent is serpent. So I am giving some details of the symbolism. You work out further. Whatever I remember, I am telling you. The Devatas and Rakshasas. The Rakshasas get the poison. Devatas get comfort. That's why they hold on to the tail, and these Rakshasas hold on to the head of the serpent. Serpent also is there something. I will tell if I remember. And they churn. And now, by churning, suppose you churn in your heart. Out of the churning, wealth, Lakshmi is wealth, comes. Out of that churning, you study a subject, a science or technology or whatever, and you practice it and make a load of wealth. That is how wealth comes from, that churning. You follow that? And then Bhruguhu. So Bhrugu stands for life, power of life. That is what Bhrugu stands for. Okay? So Bharjanat Bhruguhu, power of life. And when there is churning, the power of life, it emerges. And you take that power of life, prana shakti, you take it, and then and also wisdom, knowledge. Wisdom rather. Knowledge means not the knowledge which I said earlier, the wisdom that comes out along with the power of life. So that wisdom together with the power of life is called Bhrugu. Bhrugu also came. Therefore Lakshmi comes from within you, power of life comes from within you, the heart by churning. Churning is meditation. Churning is meditation. Okay? And the wisdom comes from you. Okay? Now forget about some Nirdharana Shashti. All these sages and saints, they have that power of life in them and that wisdom in them. Combined it is called Bhrugu. The Bhrugu, the power of life and wisdom that you see among all these sages and saints, that I am. How are you now? Followed? So that is the Sambandha Shashti, Maharshinam Bhruguraham. I translate it into English, I, the Godhead, Aham, I, the Godhead, am the power of life and wisdom of, not among, of all these great saints and sages. That is, so if you follow Puranic story, that becomes Nirdharana Shashti. If you follow the vision of that symbolic story, the vision incorporated in the story, if you understand that vision, that is the story. Unfortunately, many people don't understand this story properly. Therefore, what they do, they put an idol of Krishna in between, put a pond around him, and put a lot of milk, 2,000 liters milk, 3,000 liters milk they put there. And put Lakshmi idol. All these things they do. Back in India they do. Here also they must be doing. Somebody must get into his head to do this. 2,000 liters milk is nothing for them. They will purchase it and put there. And it will start smelling bad by evening. You followed the story under the significance of Maharshinam Bhruguraham. You may say Maharshinam Bhruguraham. Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shall we meet at 11:25? Okay, please go and have a cup of tea. Don't wait for formality, etc. You please go ahead.